Welcome back to Retro Ford. Today we're going to be explaining steel wheels, wheel studs and what you need to get your new steel wheels on your car. So we're remanufacturing these steel wheels, and thankfully I've got this centre at the wheel, so it makes it easier for me to show what you need when you're fitting your steel wheels. Now, some of the problems that people will encounter when they're fitting steel wheels is the fact that aftermarket studs tend to have this extended shoulder here. Now, the reason for that is that when you're fitting an aftermarket stud like this, you can run a wheel spacer, and that shoulder there means that when you run a wheel spacer, the wheel nut comes down and doesn't bottom out on the bottom of there. But if you run aftermarket wheel studs with that longer shoulder, which nearly all of them have got, then you end up with a problem where you bolt your wheel on, you put your wheel nut on, and as you can see, when you get to the bottom, it won't tighten up. And it very nearly tightens up, but look, it's not tight. So if you had a wheel spacer, that would cure that problem, but that's not really what you want. So what we've now done is had standard type wheel studs remanufactured with a shoulder, which means that the wheel nut doesn't bottom out. So you can see I fitted one there, and you can see it sticks through a little bit, but you've got the depth of the wheel. So when you put your wheel on and you put your wheel nut on, that holds your wheel securely. And we've had quite a few customers that have bought our wheels, which are identical to a genuine Ford wheel, but they've removed alloys from their car, and alloys typically, this portion here, where the wheel nut goes, is thicker. So you don't tend to notice when you've got these studs and you put a wheel nut on because they don't bottom. So to get round this problem, because we're getting this quite a lot now, is we've had these studs manufactured, as I said, in metric. That also means that this stud will swap for your standard 7/16 UNF stud that would have been fitted to Mark 1 Escorts, Mark 1, Mark 2 Cortinas, Anglias, Corsairs. They all had Imperial studs in. But this portion here, where the spline is an interference fit on the hub, is the same. So if you're not sure when you're buying a set of our wheels whether you've got the right studs or not, then we've now put a kit together which gives you 16 wheel nuts and 16 studs. And one other thing we've done, there's now an option on the wheel nut. So that's identical to a genuine Ford wheel nut that would have been used on a standard Ford wheel. When Ford were using these wheels, then they weren't particularly worried if when you used your socket, whether the socket rubbed against the wheel. So you can see there that if you're using an impact gun, which a lot of people are, or even a ratchet or a breaker bar, that can rub on the wheel and then it can mark your wheel there. Now, if you're running a hubcap, then it doesn't really matter, but a lot of people aren't running hubcaps, and a lot of people don't want to mark their new wheels. So that's the direct replacement for your OE one. But what we've got here now, I'm waiting for a new batch to come in, and I'd only got a used one left. But we do this one, which comes to a dead stop because it's got a shoulder there, and that stops the socket coming through and rubbing on there. So you can see, like that, you can then do that up, and that won't hit on there. So we'll be doing this kit, which is, as I say, will fit a lot of your classic Fords. Nearly everything that had a Ford 108 PCD, it will fit. I mean, that's an original Corsair hub there, and you can see we've got the metric studs fitted in there. So that pretty much rounds it up. Oh, just one last thing before we go. As I say, you can get these sockets which have got a plastic cover on them, and that tends to not mark the front. So they're a good investment if you're going to use those wheel nuts. But if you've got those wheel nuts, then I think that's a better alternative. So they'll be available on the website, and then there'll be an option. You can either go for those those wheel nuts, or these wheel nuts. So I think that rounds it up. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all again soon.